Uh, it looks like my stream in Facebook isn't working again because of that time issue. Do you want to fix that first, like you did last time? You know I can't hear you, right? Hi, I might be on Facebook and I might be introducing this webinar, Delegation Made Simple, How to Start Working with a Virtual Assistant Today. Or I might be talking to myself right now. Not sure which, we'll see in a minute. But if you are here, wait a minute, I think I can do it. No. Oh no! Cancel. Stop it. I think I'm ruining everything, Christine. Go live. I think I have to edit the time, right? 2 p.m. Oh, hold on. 2:05 p.m. It says it is live. Christine, can you come tell me if it's live or not? Can somebody tell me?
It's not
No,
yet
it
live.
says live now. It does say live
Oh,
at the
okay.
top. That's so weird. Hi, Facebook. If you're there, let me know because how would I have known otherwise? I mean, hopefully it's just at least recording. Um, Welcome to Delegation Made Simple, How to Start Working with a Virtual Assistant Today. I've been doing these little mini episodes of this is not an episode, it's a class so that I can just start to get information out to people to help people and also to help people understand what I do. I had one of my best friends say to me recently, I don't know what you do. And that was shocking since she's known me for like 20 years and we talk all the time. So um, this is what I do it. However, I have to pick up my son Max at like 2:15, but we're really going to wait till 2:45, and that's why I'm going to start now and stay on time. And Christine, my assistant, is going to hold me to it. So today we are going to be talking about how to plan, how to recruit, how to hire, how to train, and how to support. And I'm not going to teach you in detail every single thing, but I'm going to go over each part. So let's start with planning. So there's 3 things you have to do before you hire a virtual assistant. The first one, you have to get your mind right. If you're a business owner, in delegating for most small business owners is a very hard thing to figure out because we don't think of a business as an entity. We think of it as the baby that we have raised from the ground and now it is ours and we must protect it. You have to get into the mindset that the people around you might not only um, be able to learn the thing you do, they probably will do it better than you if they're the right person. Because we as entrepreneurs do a little of everything or a lot of everything. Once you start delegating to people who are focused on one type of thing, one person who knows marketing or one person who runs the office, you'll start to see that really where your vision should go. Because if you were smart enough and brave enough to start a business, your vision, your work is really up here, creating the vision, looking forward, creating, new ideas, building relationships. So one of the things I say is when you're starting to delegate, when you're training, don't focus on the process, focus on the results. So next you have to think about what do you do? What do you do? And could somebody else do the thing you do? If it's email, if it's calendar, if it's booking appointments, if it's doing quotes, even some of these things I've mentioned, you're going to dismiss me and just say, somebody can't do quotes. They can do quotes for you as well. They can do your email. We have systems that teach people all of this stuff very easily. And it's not on, and if you use a system, they're really teaching themselves if you do it the right way. So you want to go through and just write down everything you do or use ChatGPT and say, I own a blank company. Tell me all the tasks that I might do in a day as an owner. And you might say, I have an employee who does this and that, but just you don't have to be the start of the brainstorm, because a blank sheet of paper can be scary and hard to think through, but have it start, and then you'll start to get the hang of it. And then you need to think about, where do you spend the majority of your time? You might think sending an email is like 5 minutes. Maybe that's true, but it's not, because you have to think of how to write it. You need to think of the right words. You need to think, even if you have templates, you still need to go and communicate back and forth. So maybe all in all, a whole conversation might be 20 minutes of your time. And if you're having dozens of those a week, it's a long time. I spent between, I think it's 15 to 20 hours doing phone calls and emails before I ever had assistants or office help. And it happened during family time, I'm not proud to say. So the other part of it is, what do you hate doing? And we'll go over this a little bit more, actually, I just realized. But the next thing is, you need to set a standard. You need to document how you do things. You need to train the person to be consistent. You need to monitor them, and you need to collaborate with them as well. You need to empower them. And so systems will tell you if they're being successful, if the end goal is the result. But you need to be a coach for this person. Any employee doesn't want to just be a task doer. Eventually we all have bigger goals for ourselves. The good people who really want to grow, and those are the people I want to work with, they're going to have higher level goals for themselves, and you should be helping them to reach those goals by empowering them to do more in your company. So how much is it, and how do you know what you can afford? So when I first started, I did the DIY method. I went out and I found the person. I had to, do all of and I got like 400 applications in. I had to figure out um, which person was the best person. I gave them some test tasks to do once I had narrowed down that list. And then I had to hire them. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, because I didn't have a clear way of doing it at that point. And I didn't know how to work with the cultural dynamics and all, because I was hiring in different countries. And then I had to train them. And most business owners are not the best trainers. Like, we train how we learn a lot of the time, or we just talk things at people. I do that a lot. But you have to be systemized in how you train, and then you need to support them afterwards. If there's a middle layer to this, which is, you can you can hire a recruiter for you. That's what our company used to be. We used to be a recruiter. So we would find the person, we would match the client with a great assistant. We would hire them for them and set up their job description, set up their training plan. We would do work out all the HR details. We'd teach the client how to pay the assistant, and then we would support them for 30 days. But what we found is, most people needed a lot more support than just 30 days. So sometimes people would come back after a year, 2 years, even still 3 years sometimes, and we weren't being paid for that. So now we are an agency. We do all of the things that I said you have to do when you're a DIY person. And you still, as a client, you would have, if you worked with us, you would still have to work with your assistant. You would have to coach them up sometimes, or you can use us as the middle person to help you learn to coach, learn how to train. Like, we do the training in our company, we do the support. We continuously train our assistants. Yesterday, we had a really great class on project management. And I don't just talk about how to manage a project. I talk about how to get from your client what you need and make them do something that they don't want to do or don't have time to do. I talk about the mindset. I talk about the psychology. I go deep. It's not just one thing. And so you can, when you work with us, you pay us, and you pay us every week, but we find them, we hire them, we train them, we support them. And also, we support you all the time. So how do you know how much to pay? If you were going to do it the DIY way, we recommend, because every country has a different living wage or cost of living. And so in America, it's even different. You can have one cost of living in Massachusetts, one in middle America and Kansas. They're going to be different. So you have to understand the wages of the place. Now, if you look online, we work with Filipinos, it's going to say anywhere from $3 to $10, and it's going to be based on what people are getting paid. But what we've developed in our country is a standard, the lowest set rate that we are willing to pay, that my team, who is all Filipinos, decided is considered a living wage for somebody who's starting with us. It's $6 an hour. Plus, we're giving them benefits like health insurance. We're giving them a lot of support. We're giving them other benefits as well. I can't think of everything. We're paying them a whole extra month's pay because in the Philippines, 13th month is a very big, it's like a bonus, basically, like a Christmas holiday bonus, except on a different level. We don't do that in America, but we do that for our assistants. Why? Because we want to hire the best and we want to create long-term relationships because that's what's best for us, for the client, and for the assistant. So I really want you to consider, if you're going to hire on your own, you have to think about wages. Some people are going to charge less than they're worth in the beginning. And I paid lower wages in the beginning too. It wasn't that I was being unethical. I just didn't know until I learned. And so just take our word for it. If you want it, because eventually people are going to leave. If they're not getting paid well, they're going to leave. So if you want something that's long term, after you've done all the pain of hiring, training, supporting, you got to pay well. And by the way, it's not just like $6. It can go up to $10 or $15, depending, even more sometimes, depending on how much of an expert somebody is at certain things, or what their experience is. So let's talk about tasks. What kind of tasks and how do you figure it out? You have to figure out what your time is worth. In my first webinar this month, I talked about this. And you have to figure out, like, you can write down all your tasks, like I said in the beginning, and that's great. But you have to decide, what is my time worth before you can delegate. I talk about, like, delegate the things that you're not good at, delegate the things that aren't worth your time. But really, delegate the things that you're not good at, of course, but delegate things that are going to keep you in the 500, or really I call it the $10,000 an hour column. And it's not that you're going to make $10,000 an hour, but if you start to value your time at $10,000 an hour, you're going to start to see everything else as less. It's a mindset. And you'll start doing the work that's going to bring you more relationships. You can work with one client at a time, or you can build a relationship with somebody who has their own set of clients who's going to align with your business, and that relationship will get you a flow of clients. Whereas if you just were talking to unqualified prospects, that's not going to get you much. Sorry, guys, it's being weird. There we go. How do you figure out what's important in your company? So you've probably heard of the Eisenhower matrix, which is how a lot of people view it. I've written it differently in the past as well, but I just chose this because it's just a quick example of, how do you decide what's important and urgent are the things that should be in the do it now column. But what are the things you can delegate? It's urgent and not important, you can delegate it. If it's not important and not urgent, you should get rid of it. And if it's not urgent and it's important, you should decide who's going to do it, because it might be delegatable. You might just need to take time to delegate it, or schedule it in for later. I don't really look at it that way fully. It's a good framework for how you approach this, but this is our framework. I would take your tasks and then write them down and then put a number next to them. Number one is, it's going to give you back your time the quickest. You don't like doing it, or you aren't good at it. It's easy to delegate, or it needs immediate delegation. Those are the kinds of things I think about in terms of, what are the first things I'm going to work on training my assistant. Number twos are things that are important, but not like urgent. You don't like doing it, but you're good at it. Not the best use of your time. It might be more difficult to train, even though it's needed, or but needs, it might be more difficult to train, but needs immediate delegation. You put that in the two column, because again, the ones are the things that you want your assistant to learn and take over as quickly as possible. And then the threes are things you dislike, but you're good at, the things you procrastinate on. Honestly, I put that in a 1 and a 2 as well. If you procrastinate on something every single time you do it, like if you procrastinate on budget, maybe you shouldn't be doing your budget, or maybe you should have an assistant who brings it into a weekly meeting with you and makes you do it. That's what I make Christine do sometimes, is she puts things in front of me. Um, you if it's difficult to train and isn't immediate, but you can, and it can be saved to delegate in the future, or just any dream you have about things that you want to accomplish, those are all threes. The things that you want to accomplish, all those dream things that you want that you've wanted for your company that you haven't gotten, once you start getting that time back, so let's say you got a 20 hours of your time back right away, what would you do with that time? I'm going to be honest, most people just fill it up with busy work. Um, it's real, it's not just a delegate and done kind of situation. So you have to understand that there's a lot of mindset work that goes into being a good delegator and being really good at continuously thinking about your tasks in that way. As a human, I struggle with this all the time, every day. And so, but I've done it enough times that I'm always remembering, oh crap, we have to go back to the system. We have to go back to the system. So never think that you're going to be perfect at it. Unless you're a robot, you might be a perfect robot. But from my point of view, as a creative, as a vision builder, I am never going to be good at remembering to stay focused, because that's not my that's why I have the melody manager. That's why Christine manages me and my things and keeps me on track and acts as my executive functioning skills. That's what pushes us forward as a company. Okay. Next up, recruiting and hiring. So, how to hire a VA for your business. You've decided what you need. You're going to create a job description, and then you're going to post a job ad based on that description. If you want to go on to our website, I won't say that ours is the best because we have lots of goals and then we haven't fulfilled all of them or plans. But look at homeserviceva.com/careers. You can see that we talk about the things they're getting up front. We're marketing to them. We want the people to want to work with us. And so we're not just saying a list of tasks they need to do. If you want to find the right people, sell the vision of what you're trying to move towards. Then you post the job, and then you're going to get tons of applications depending on where you do it. I'll talk about that next. Then you're going to conduct interviews with people. Once you pare down that list, you're going to conduct interviews. You're going to test their skills. You need to be thinking about I think of the things that I want to see in people. Are they self-motivated? Are they good critical thinkers? Are they proactive thinkers? Are they detail oriented? I have to go back to our HSVA cares, you guys. Hold on. And also I need a drink so I can remember all my cares. It's funny because I know this analogy by the back of my hand. It's all the things. Are they, Christine, write it in the thing, because the only C that comes into my head is compassionate. And now I'm stuck on that. But are they accountable? Are they self-motivated? Are they resourceful? Are they do they have emotional intelligence? Is that one of ours still? Because I think that one's important. I'm going to look at my thing here, because curious. Curious is the most important one. You want to work with people who are curious because they're going to figure out things. They're not just going to be like, if they're not curious, you probably don't want to work with them unless you're specifically looking for just a task doer. I don't look for just task doers in my life anymore, and I don't do that for our clients either. But there was a time in my life when I did, and it's because I didn't understand the power of having a collaborator. And then you're going to do a background check. That's the hard part, because you're not in the Philippines or in Colombia or wherever you're delegating to. And so you need to think of ways to be able to get the background information that you want. I think you can pay services for that. You can also just ask for references or find references. I'll show you on the next screen as well. And then once you've chosen your top one or two, you're going to give that top one a job offer, and then they're going to accept, and then you go from there. Where can you find VAs? Well, word of mouth. You know somebody maybe who has a virtual assistant. You can ask them where they got their person. I should actually start. I'm the worst at sales and marketing. You can come to homeserviceva.com. This is what we do all day, every day, and we're really good at it. I should have said that first and foremost, and I'll say it again at the end. But word of mouth, talk to your friends, ask where they got their VAs, and if it's been successful and how long they've had them. That's very important. Facebook, you can look in, there's actually VA groups. So for instance, I'm in a Go High Level group, and there's Go High Level groups just for people who help people learn Go High Level or do things with Go High Level. Like you can find, let's say you need help with your software, go online, find that software group, and I guarantee people are going to reach out to you. I love going on Fiverr if it's something that's going to be focused on like just a one-time thing. I love Upwork if it's like more project-based. I found that for me, Upwork projects are better than Fiverr. And then Indeed is a good place to look for people. But really, online jobs for us in the beginning, onlinejobs.ph was the place where we really started. And it's a good place if you want to work with Filipinos, because that's where a lot of Filipinos go and put their resumes. But you're going to get you're going to get spammed with a million resumes if you put out a job ad, and you have to sift through them, and it's a lot, and you don't know even if it's going to be worth it. So but that's the place I would start. If you have a good system for hiring, onlinejobs.ph is going to be a good place for you to find somebody potentially. You also have to know, though, that not everybody looks there a lot. They might have things up there. You can also like look at people's stuff. You want to look for somebody in all of these places. You want to look for people who already have references or testimonials. Like Online Jobs has a place where it shows people who are looking for VAs if they've had good references or bad references. The VA doesn't see it, I see it. So that's something to consider. But for Fiverr, Upwork, they're all public. What are the benefits of having a virtual assistant instead of an office assistant? Well, you don't need to have an office space. If you work from home, but you have a growing company, or if you prefer not to work in the office, you don't have to have an office. And let's say that what a lot of business owners say is true, which I don't believe in it, but nobody wants to work anymore. In America, people have dreams, they have hopes, and especially young people, they don't want to just work a job that's just doing things like tasks. And they will, even if they want to, it will be for a while and they'll move on quickly. In other countries, people are looking for professions. And in the Philippines, a VA is a high level job because you get to work from home. You get to you have to work overnights, but you get to be there when your kids wake up. You get to take them to school if you need to. You get to rest in the day. Like, it allows for so much flexibility. You don't have to sit in traffic. You get paid more than you would if you were working for a company in the Philippines. So it's a highly coveted position. And then you can delegate tasks and to VAs to focus on the strategic work. And I would say, like, we work with two different kinds of assistants. Like, we find a general assistant for the office, or somebody, if you're like a one man show, they're going to kind of act as the office manager to begin with. But if you have like people in your company already, they're going to act more as an assistant to either the manager or to you. And then my favorite one of all is the executive assistant role, the melody manager role, because that's the thing that's going to get high level thinkers, people who have a lot that they want to accomplish. That's going to get them to scale their impact much quicker than they ever could on their own. So training and tools. I'm going to talk about training first. You have to think about the way that you like to receive and give information. For instance, I love talking things out. My brain thinks way too fast and has too many things all over the place going on for me to actually write it. My fingers type slower than my brain thinks, and it's a very frustrating process. And so I don't take the time to write as much as I take the time. I write notes. I don't take time and write out my thoughts or write SOPs. I talk them out. And that's how most of our systems came to be, because I'm really aware of what works best for me. Because ultimately, if I can reduce my level of frustration, I think of them as little like pinpoints of frustration throughout your day. Um, you know how, like, in the kitchen, they say to design it as a triangle with the stove, the oven, the fridge all in one triangle, the stove, the fridge, and the sink all in one triangle. If you don't do that every day, there's little tiny annoyances. You're bumping into somebody over here. When you design it the right way, it works. And so it's streamlined, it works. So think about how you like to give information. Also think about how you like to receive information. I want to say I'm dyslexic, and I spent 10 years thinking that I had to write SOPs for my company, but that's like putting me in the hardest position ever, since I don't like writing and it's hard. So I like to receive information though in written form, because I don't like listening to voice memos or other people talking. I like to read because I can read faster than my brain can process somebody talking. People talk at different speeds. And so I know that sounds, I feel selfish kind of when I say that, but honestly, if you can figure that out, your person is going to be so much more effective for you, and you're going to miss a lot of the problems. So you need to make time for the training, and you need to not micromanage. And if you follow systems, it will help you to be able to make time for the training and to not micromanage. I'm going to show you a couple of those in a minute. Also, you have to explain the intangible tasks. Like, for instance, I don't, it's not even just the intangibles. If I didn't give my assistants permission to input to me, I tell them all the time, I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear what you're thinking. You can't hurt my feelings. Tell me what you're thinking. We might debate about it. I need to know your thoughts, because I don't ever want to be in a place where like I'm in like an ivory tower, and I'm surrounded by yes people, right? I want to do what's best, and so I don't have the whole view of everything. So you have to, that's an intangible right there. You might not think about it. You might just be like, um, well, they'll just tell me stuff because that's how you are. That's not how people are. Like, not everybody. So um, let's go to smart delegation. Build a system, the priority system, like I talked about. Have the assistant train themselves. That's one of the tools I'm going to talk about in the future, what that means. Provide clear instructions. The simpler, the better. So, like, let's say you have a complicated thing you're going to teach, break it down into, I like to do videos, break it down into shorter video segments. Use AI to help you figure out how to do that. You don't have to do all the thinking. I know entrepreneurs always think they do, but they don't have to. Quick side note, that is the problem with entrepreneurship. In the beginning, we do have to do all the thinking, and we train ourselves to be really great thinkers and problem solvers. And then it's really hard to let go of that habit, but that's how you know you're growing as a leader and as a human and as a business owner. And then always give feedback. If in the process of training, always give feedback. Tell them what they're doing right. Tell them what they could do better. It like just make sure to adjust as time goes on, and that's what they need and that's what they want. We use a simple training plan, and I'm just showing you this so you can do it. Just write down all the tasks that you said you want to delegate, all the level on this page though, only put the ones that are the ones you said are urgently and urgent and important, because you don't want to overwhelm somebody. But you're going to just put that there. We make videos, so you just put the video links here. You could even just make one video. I don't love that, but you could make one video and then just talk it out. The problem with that is if your systems change in the future, you have to redo that whole video, or you have to edit the video. So it's better to have just one thing, system like that. Then you're going to have your assistant watch that video and then document what they heard. So, like I said, people learn differently. Now they're watching you, they're seeing what you're doing because you're screen sharing. They are now writing it down and sharing it with you, and you're going to give them feedback because you'll see what was missed. You'll see if it's going to be a good communication match. And then always be updating those systems. They can take that over though at that point. So do you see that they're going to create the SOPs for you, for your company? They're going to be the person who practically trains themselves just by listening to you. Tools. Communication. We like to use Loom for video recording and screen sharing. It's the fastest way. I'm sure there are other ones, but I've stuck with it. I've made thousands of videos at this point. I like, some people use Google Chat, Slack, things like that are good for communication on a daily basis. Try not to use text because texts are not things that are searchable easily. They're not things that can always stay on your phone. And I like to look back at things sometimes. Facebook Messenger is not ideal in my view, but you can use that for communication. And then Zoom is great if you have like a bigger time of training or you're working together on something, but don't spend 8 hours in Zoom with your training somebody in their first couple days. It's too much information from you and you're going to tell too many things. We overtrain. Oh, hi, Christine.
Hi, Matt. Yeah, it's already 2:30.
Oh gosh.
It's
Okay.
2:30 now.
Um, give me, how many more slides do I have? Like a couple? Okay.
Few
I'm
more,
going to go
yes.
through the rest
Or we
fast and
can
Max.
do a part two
No, no part two.
next
I'm
week.
doing this.
No, okay.
So give me 5 more minutes
Okay.
and then come back and
Mhm.
I'm gonna do it. Okay. Have a screen as password sharing, password protection, so you never give passwords to people. Time tracking. We do time track, but I don't like to do screen sharing time trackers. Time Doctor does that where they'll show what the person's doing. They'll take screenshots. It slows down people's computers and it also doesn't build the kind of trust that you're going to want with somebody. And then for training, you make videos, use Google Workspace to hold documents for you. You can use Udemy is a great site for buying a class in an area that you might want them to learn. There's other ones as well. Talent and LMS, like you can use a software to actually make a more formal training, but I think spreadsheet to start with is fine. How do you manage and support? Well, I like to teach transparent accountability. This is where I'm training people to be proactive, to be accountable to their own stuff. And I don't want to have to poke people to tell me what they did all day. You want to have a place where your assistant is sending everything they did that day with links to the things they created, links to things that you would have to look at. So they might not have created it that day, but if they're referencing something, they're going to assume you know where it is. But most of the days, like I have thousands of documents around me. I'm not going to be able to find this one thing. My brain will be dead by the time I get there anyway. So have them always write down where the link is, and it's holding them accountable because sometimes, and it's a way for you to see, do they have enough work? Am I giving them enough? Because you'll see like what they're actually working on and what they're doing. You can see if you're giving them too much. Sometimes they won't tell you, and then they're going to get overwhelmed and you won't know it. That's a communication issue. Another tool is the master list. Keep a master list with everything that comes out of your brain for your business. Have them put it on a list. You can just voice memo them things as they come up. Usually, when I'm driving, about 50 things come into my head. And then you're going to have that list. And then you guys need to come up with a system to order them in terms of importance, not urgency, importance, even though it says urgency on our master list. But it's a place to have all the tasks. You can know what they're working on because you're going to write down who's assigned to it, what the start date is. You can show how, like, what the due date is. You can have them add links to all the things you need to be able to finish that task, and you'll know if things are getting done. And so it's a way, again, to have transparent accountability because they're adding all the things that you say or that and you'll add things if you want to also, but you have to go through it with them and consistently make sure that everything is not one because my brain thinks everything's one. But I think of a one as being, we're doing it today. And that's not possible for all the things I think of. So look at it every day, keep it updated, use colors to show importance so that it's easy to see visually. Write very short, clear notes. Even in columns, just use the note, insert a note, and then move the completed project tasks and projects to a done list because it feels so good for me and Christine to every once in a while. I try to look at it every couple weeks to see how many tasks we completed. Last year, it was over 600 tasks from May. I did more than that before, but these aren't little tiny things like call your mom. These are like bigger things too. So it's so rewarding. Most business owners don't look back at their accomplishments, and it's an easy way to do that. So let's talk about us because Christine's going to come back on in a second, and my son's going to call me to pick him up. We are your virtual assistant matchmakers. We're more than just a regular agency. We're a partner in your growth. We're committed to connecting mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to do something bigger in this world with expertly trained assistants. They're not experts in all your things at once, by the way, but we will get them to the point with you together because we're partners in your growth so that they can be the people that you trust and rely on. We have a big heart for people. Our mission is to create those relationships and also to support our Filipino assistants to change their lives as well, and to change our community's lives, to change your community's lives. If your business is doing better and we're there to support you, we're going to push a lot of people forward just through our back end support. And we're very much all about innovation and training. So we don't do status quo around here. We don't do something just because other companies do it. Everything is driven by innovation at every step, from our recruitment process, our customer journey. We are very AI forward. We're always looking at the latest resources. We train imagine every month I am in a training with your assistant, telling them from my brain what I think they need to know. I have learned from the best in business. I've traveled all over for the past 3 years, and I have a wealth of knowledge and information that they can come and ask us questions, and I can give specific answers. That's what I mean when we say we're the resource. So how does it work to work with us? You have a setup fee when you start. And what that includes is a client advocate whose only job it is to make sure that from the time you sign up to the time you're onboarding with your assistant, that your needs are taken care of and that we're getting things done for you. We have a customized assessment that we go over all the HR, all the tasks. You don't have to do thinking. We're going to think with you and for you. Then we're going to do an interview with you. Right now, I'm doing the interviews. So when you come in, you're working with me. I'm getting all the stuff out of your brain so that you have to make less training videos for this assistant when they come up, when they start training with us, by the way. We're also recruiting and finding that perfect match for you. There's no such thing as perfect, so practically perfect, but we're matching personality traits, we're matching weaknesses and strengths. And then you have a process mapping. If you don't have systems in your company, we are going to give them to you so that your assistant can be successful. That's what we do well. You're going to have customized training with our team. Your assistant is going to work directly training with our team for a couple of weeks. And then when you start working one-on-one with your assistant, they are going to be still supported by our trainer, and you're going to be supported by your client concierge as well. We do so much at the front end that I want to tell you why we have this fee and what it covers. But then ongoing fees start at $6.40 a week. That's $16 an hour. You're not going to get that in America for the level of service we're providing. It's communication therapy, which is really just using your DISC profiles to teach you how to best communicate with each other. And we are the ones who are guiding that conversation. That's why I call it communication therapy. All of the HR and payroll management and support is taken care of. You have the support concierge. You have a library of HSVA tools, systems, classes, templates. Your assistant is always learning. If they need something, they will learn it. We can give you the training that we can give you the resource for the training that they need. And we give you 90 days to do a rematch, but we usually know within the first 1 week or two if it's not the right relationship. We do very, very well with people, but we never promise success. We just promise that we're going to do the best we can and to make sure you're successful. I want you to know that I have a class coming up. Next week is the last class of this series, which is how do you keep somebody long term? How do you empower them to be the person that works with you long term and develop that relationship? I hope I see you there. I'm always running late and I have to go get my son now. The end. Thanks for being here. I will see you in the future. How do I turn this off? End stream. Oh, wait, reach out to me. If you want to reach out, and if you're interested in working with us, now it's the end. Thank you.